happy crocheters, this is Lindsay from windingroadcrochet.com, and today I'm going to show you how to make these really cute decorative trees. If you like this tutorial, make sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. You can also follow me on Instagram and Facebook. Okay, let's go over the materials that we need because some of them are not in your typical crochet project. One of the things we're going to need is some wooden rounds to make these stand for our tree. We're also going to need a drill bit. The drill bit I have is a 5/16 drill bit, and that is because I'm using a 1/4 inch dowel rod. So I've drilled holes, and you can do it in 1 or 2 rounds, depending. You can stack them. They look really nice stacked. You will also need some dowel rods and a way to cut them, probably like a handsaw. You will also need a yarn needle. You will need scissors, a hook. This hook I'm using is a size G or 4mm hook, and you are going to need some worsted weight or size 4 yarn. The other thing not pictured here is that I use hot glue to attach the dowel rod to the wooden rounds. So let's go ahead and get started crocheting. We are going to first start with making a slip knot, put it on our hook, and we are going to chain 2. We're starting at the very tippy top of the tree. In the second chain from the hook, we are going to single crochet twice. So once, and twice. So there's round 1. For round 2, we are going to chain 1, and we're going to turn our work. We are going to increase into the first stitch, so 1 single crochet, another single crochet in the exact same stitch, and then we're simply going to single crochet in the other stitch. And this is actually the first row of our repeat row, which we'll explain a little bit better in just a moment. At the end of row 2, you'll have a total of 3 stitches. Now we're going to chain 1 and turn, and we're working this repeat row. So what we're doing is we're increasing in the first stitch, so 1 single crochet, a second single crochet in the same stitch, and single crocheting in each stitch across. For row 3, that is just 2 more stitches. Let's do this repeat row again. Row 4, we are going to chain 1, turn our work, work 2 single crochet into the first stitch, and single crochet across. For this row, we will work 3 more single crochet. This row will have a total of 5 single crochet. We're going to continue repeating this row with an increase in the first stitch and single crocheting in each stitch across. Continue working this repeat row until you have a total of 11 rows. Or even easier, work until your last row has a total of 12 stitches. That's how you'll know you're on your 11th row. So I just increased in my 11th row, and I am going to single crochet in each stitch across to finish it up. So at the end of our 11th row, now we are going to be making this little notch in that you see at the edges. To do this, we are going to turn our work, and we are going to slip stitch into the first 3 stitches. So go down the center of the stitch and out the back, yarn over and pull through the stitch, and then pull through the loop on your hook. That is your slip stitch. Again, for the next stitch, down the center of the stitch and out the back, yarn over, pull through the loop on your hook. Do 1 more slip stitch. From here, we will start the actual stitches of this row. So we will chain up, and we will single crochet into the next 6 stitches. After that 6 single crochet, we are going to leave the last 3 stitches unworked. Now we are going to chain 1, and again we are going to do that repeat row, but for row 13 we are going to increase in the first stitch, and we are going to single crochet across, which in this case is only 5 single crochet stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. It's a little bit of a tricky row. It's easy to add or take away stitches in this row, so you want to be careful. From now we can just go ahead and do the repeat row, which again is single crochet twice into the first stitch, or increase in the first stitch, and single crochet across. We will continue repeating this row until we have a total of 22 rows, or until your very last row should have a total of 16 stitches. Here I am at the end of row 22. My last row has a total of 16 stitches, and if you're making the smaller tree, you would actually fasten off here and make a second tree. Also, I've made an ornament by stopping here as well. But if you're going on for the larger tree, once again we are going to slip stitch to the first 3 stitches of this row to create that little crop in. So I'm just pushing my hook through the center of the stitch out the back, pulling up a loop and pulling it through the loop on my hook to create a slip stitch. Now we are going to chain 1, and we are going to single crochet in the next 10 stitches. Once we complete our 10 stitches, we leave the last 3 stitches unworked. Again, we're going to chain 1 and turn and work our repeat row. It's another one of those slightly tricky rows, so again you are going to increase in the first stitch, so 2 single crochet into the first stitch, and then you're going to single crochet into the next 9 stitches. So this is a row you definitely want to count out and make sure that it's accurate. Moving on to finish up the third section of our tree, we're going to work the repeat row. So chain 1 and turn, single crochet twice into the first stitch, and single crochet in each stitch across. Continue repeating this repeat row until you have a total of 33 rows. When you reach your 33rd row, you should have a total of 20 stitches in that row. So here is row 33. There are 20 stitches in this row, and now we are ready to fasten off. So I'm just grabbing my scissors, clipping the yarn, giving myself about 6 inches, yarning over and pulling through the last loop. So for our tree, you will need to go ahead and make a second tree piece like this. You can see I've already made 2 over here, and so we're going to be finishing up our tree with these 2 samples. At this time, if you want to, you can go ahead and figure out how long you need your dowel rod to be. You can place your dowel rod on top of your tree and figure out how long you want the stem to be. It can be really short or it can be really long. Both ways look really nice. Here's a quick photo showing you some of the lengths I made for the dowel rods. Also, when you're deciding the length of the dowel rod, remember that at the end of the dowel rod, you are also going to be placing 1 or 2 of these rounds. So that's going to take up some extra space as well. So something else that is going to happen off camera is I'm going to take a little bit of hot glue, put it into the holes on these wooden rounds, insert my dowel rod, and then hold that while it dries because we want to hold it as straight up as possible. So I went ahead and finished that, and now it is time to finish up the tree part of our little tree stands. So to finish up these trees, what we will be doing is single crocheting the 2 pieces together, but we are going to leave a small hole in the center so that we can insert the tree stand. To do this, what you're going to want to do is leave 2 stitches unworked in the center. So go to one of your sides and count over 9 stitches. Remember, we have 20 stitches in this row. Insert your hook on one side and then count over 9 on the other side and find that 9th stitch. We will be working through both layers of crochet as we single crochet these 2 pieces together. So with your yarn, Gonna yarn over, pull through, yarn over again, and pull through the loop on your hook. This will create a nice little slip knot. From here we are going to chain up 1. We're going to single crochet in the same stitch as the slip stitch. So we're starting with that slip stitch stitch, and now we're going to single crochet through both layers into every stitch until we reach the corner. So once we reach our corner, I'm going to take these 2 yarn ends and I'm just going to tuck them inside, because anytime I can skip weaving in ends, I'm so for it. I'm going to chain 2 to get around the corner, and now we are going to single crochet into the side of the rows. So working into the side of both rows, so working through 2 layers of crochet, we're just going to single crochet. And I'm going to single crochet all the way up until the tree branches out a little bit. This does take a little bit of getting used to, but it's a technique that is used often in crochet. When you reach these slip stitches here or the skip stitches, we're just going to turn our work, and you should be working 3 single crochets into these stitches. I'll be honest, if you can only find 2, that's fine, but there should be 3 here. And then once again, we are at a corner, so we are going to chain 2, and then keep single crocheting into the sides of the rows. And you'll just repeat that process every time you hit one of those brown chat areas. And when you reach the very tip of the tree, you will chain 2 as well, and then turn to work down the other side. Now, as you can see, I made it all the way to my last corner, and of course we're going to want to stop here and add some polyfill or some stuffing. You don't have to stuff it, but I do think it looks a little bit better if you stuff it. And I did find that I used my little stand, the dowel rod off of the stand, to help me stuff all the way to the tip of the tree. It does not take very much stuffing at all. And once it's stuffed, you're just going to single crochet all the way across, leaving those last 2 stitches open. So I've made it all the way to the last stitches. I am just going to clip my yarn over and pull it through the last loop. I stuffed in all my yarn tails as I worked along the project. You're going to see me stuff my yarn tail in here, but actually what I would do is just make a few stitches once you've inserted the stand piece and stitch the first single crochet you made, joining these 2 pieces to the last single crochet. But if you want to stuff it in, that's totally fine. So I'm just going to insert my stand, and this tree is done. Again, as I said, you can make a few stitches to stitch those 2 together, but that's completely up to you. So I hope you enjoyed this video tutorial. If you have any questions at all, feel free to ask them in the comments below. And thank you so much for watching.